by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
And this one hits strong, loses his glove, throw to first is wide. Here comes the tying run in, over to third base. And now the ball loose again. And Mahin's going to score. Walls winds up at second. How about all of that?
Yeah, how about all of that? Way to go, Red Sox. What a beautiful way to win a baseball game. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. We are so glad you are with us today, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Twitter and watching us on Twitter, also listening on the app. Remember our FanStream Sports app. You could download that. However you are enjoying the show, we really appreciate you guys jumping in. We got lots to get to today. The Rays with another big win last night. 3-2 over the not so mighty Red Sox and Chris Sale. Didn't look like that was a win they were going to get as good as Sale was, but Kluber was just as good. So we'll get into the Rays' big win. We'll hear from Kevin Cash, and the boys are having fun last night, especially Harold Ramirez. So we'll hear from Harold Ramirez after the game as well. Gronk spoke yesterday. So we'll hear him actually speaking. It's not a statement this time, but actually speaking about his imminent retirement. Still not buying myself. So we'll break down that interview he did yesterday with Mike Reese of ESPN. We'll talk some Lightning as free agency opens at noon today. The Lightning have not gotten a deal done with Andre Palat. That is not unexpected. He's expected to test the free agent waters. There's a lot of smoke out there about teams that want him and why not. So we'll hit the Lightning as well. LeBron making some more asinine comments that he had to walk back. We'll break that down, and we'll talk some NFL as well. So much to get into. Nick Saban yesterday speaking about the imminent, I won't say collapse of college football, but the monumental tectonic changes that are going on. So we'll talk some college football as well. Lots to get into. We thank you for joining us as we do each and every day. 2 hours of Tampa Bay sports-centric talk. Very few commercials, all for your sports talk enjoyment. Nick Gaddis joining me here from Outsider.com. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good morning. And last night, you talked about it, a big Rays victory. And how about it? The third best record in the American League.
Huh?
The Rays?
The third best record
in the American
League. How is that possible?
It's possible.
I guess.
7 games over 500, and their first or third best team in the American League.
16 guys on the injured list right now.
Yep.
Including Wander Franco. They're going down the list of the here. I heard Neil Solondz talking about this, of the top WAR players from last year's 100-win team. 7 of the top 9 are not playing for this team right now.
Yep, the most combined WAR of any team that's not in there.
I mean, what the hell? And they're still winning baseball games. This is insane. They're not beating the Reds, but they can beat the Red Sox.
Well, the Yankees can't beat the Reds either.
Yeah, I guess so. The Reds are suddenly the best team in the league. It's like there's so many injuries around baseball. No teams can offer any consistency. You're seeing teams like, what did the Braves ran off, 11 in a row, I think?
Yeah.
The Orioles running off 8 in a row.
9 in a row after last night.
9 in a row.
The Mariners 8 in a row.
I mean, where are these teams coming from? It's such a bizarre season. So as much as we have bitched and bellyached, and I think rightfully so, over what the Rays have, the way they've been playing, I would still look at this first half, and I would, if you were going to give them a grade for the way they've been playing, not their wins, not their record. We watch every game. We watch every pitch, unfortunately. What would you give them? I would give them a C-. In terms of,
I can't give them a C-. I mean, you are what your record says you are.
I know.
And the Rays are in the first wild card spot now. They're second in the AL East, third in the entire
And I say
AL.
this as a compliment, actually.
Oh yeah, they have another level or two they can get to. I think I'll give them. I'll give them a B. I'll give them a solid B.
Wow.
And you could almost, but for Kevin Cash, he probably gets an A. Kevin Cash probably gets
fire
an A.
Kevin Cash.
Fire
I know what
Kevin
you're
Cash.
talking about.
Sorry.
Fire Kevin Cash.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Worst manager in baseball.
Obviously. 16 guys on the injured list in their third best record in the American League. Yeah. Crazy. But they're getting, I think last night I think was a microcosm of their entire season. Not a whole lot of hitting. Got a clutch pinch hit from Mejia to score a run as they pinch hit for G-Man Choi in a lefty righty situation there. And Mejia comes up big. And then they get this wacky play, which we just played, where Taylor Walsh did something positive. He got a 95 mile an hour exit velocity, hit it off the pitcher Strom, whose hair got in the way when he went to reach for the ball. And he threw it down the line, and another runner scores and that's the way you're going to win the game. But let's not minimize what the pitching staff did. Not only Corey Kluber, who was awesome, retired the first 9, 5 on strikeouts. He was super sharp. The 2 runs he gave up, 2 bloops and a ball that should have been caught in the alley.
Yeah.
I mean,
by Mr. Phillips there.
Yeah. Boy, Brett Phillips is struggling.
Yeah.
Made a great catch 2 nights ago.
That was one of the damnedest catches I've ever seen.
Unbelievable. But that's a ball he's got to get in the gap there. And I know he was coming together with a Rosarena. Nobody wants to get hit by that train. But, you got to have communication. You can't overrun the ball. You got to get it. It wasn't an easy catch by any stretch of the imagination. But when you're Brett Phillips and you're hitting 148, you better damn well catch that ball.
Yeah, and the way that game was going last night for the first 5 innings, I guess since Chris Sale was in there, who, by the way, did he look good or what?
He looked like vintage Chris Sale last night.
Chris Sale. I mean, he came in, he was throwing like a 92, 93. I'm like, okay, not the same Chris Sale. And then he starts going 96, 97 by the 5th inning. Yeah. And you could see how amped up he was getting. Like, he was into it.
Yeah, and when you enlarge the strike zone for him by a good 20%, it's going to make him even tougher. Yeah. Jeez, Pete's. That umpire was awful. Yeah, I mean, I like aggressive umpires that call balls that are, if they're a little off the plate, make the guy swing. I'm all for that. But Jiminy Christmas, when you got a guy like Sale, and his movement last night was tremendous. He was getting great movement on the slider, curveball. His changeup, its fastball had about a 15 mile per hour differential. I mean, he was by the time he got warmed up, he was nasty. And this guy's calling everything that's even near the plate. He's starting it about a foot and a half off the plate and then bringing it to the back door. You got no chance to hit that pitch. And he's calling it a strike, but whatever.
Yeah, but the point of being, it's like Brett Phillips doesn't make that play in the outfield. And because the way the game was going, I was with 3 friends last night, and I was just like, okay, I don't think they're winning the game right now. I just feel like now it's 2-0. Yeah. We can't get a single hit. We've seen the story so many times.
Many times.
But how about they come right back in the next inning? Sell gets pulled because I think he was at like 80-something pitches. First game back. He gets yanked. And the Rays, I'll tell you what, for all the problems they've had in the lineup, the top of the order, they have found something there with Yandy Diaz leading off every day and Harold Ramirez right behind him.
Finally.
I love the consistency there of having that right now.
I mean, Yandy's on base is what, 420?
He's 416. That's third in baseball. Third in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, and we were running who else? Who do we have up there that was hitting like 160 or whatever it was? I mean, this is what you do. You get a guy who makes contact and gets on base, and you put him up at the top and you leave him there.
And in that inning where they got all that stuff, it was Yandy who started it. It was Harold Ramirez again, who he's hitting 330.
Yeah.
Harold Ramirez is hitting
almost 500 in July. Yeah. After a 370 June, I think.
Yeah.
And already has 7 extra base hits. Yeah.
It's like you almost look at this lineup, and I know they're not going to have their full lineup, I don't think, at some point this year at all because of the way the injuries go down. But could you imagine, I'm just theorizing right now, if you had Yandy leading off, put Wander in the 2-hole, right where he would go, and then you put like Lau in the 3-hole, you have Harold in the 4-hole, you have Randy in the 5, Paredes in the 6. If you had Margot in the 7, now we're talking about something.
That's a baseball team.
Now we're talking about something that we can that looks a bit more threatening. They're never going to get to that. I don't think the point this year.
Now, I don't think Wander's coming back till
a while.
He's not going to be back till September, and then that's when he probably won't be swinging a bat until late August.
Yeah, but Brandon Lau though.
Yeah.
who last night 3 hits at Durham, 2 doubles.
Yep.
He has to probably be here after this Boston series. I think this weekend he'll probably be back.
Yeah.
Plug him right into the 3-hole.
On that
there you
natural
go.
grass in Durham, he can play.
Oh shit! Enough.
I feel so good, man. My back feels great. So you're walking the trap.
No, but when you get him back though, then you can have some real continuity. I think 1 through 5 at least. Yandy, Harold, Lau, Arozarena, Paredes.
If you want to really get the Rays fans all of Twitter on Twitter, think about and we just kind of glossed over Corey Kluber this year.
Oh yeah.
He's having a great year, and his stuff in the last couple of games. When you pitch to the same team within 7 days as Kluber did, 6 or 7 days, and you pitch that well against that lineup, and you could just see the stuff last night. The stuff was just really, really good. I thought his stuff was every bit as good as Sale. It's much different look, but his stuff was moving. I think I said his slider was moving 12 to 13 inches in break. I mean, that's good luck hitting that. And the way he disguises everything so well, he's been really, really good. And you match him, and obviously Shane McClanahan, who we'll see tonight, has been the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
That's just what the numbers say. And if you're watching it, he's got 9 wins. He should have at least 12. He's been phenomenal. And just maybe Tyler Glasnow can come back and pitch in September and get going. And you're going to go into the playoffs with a McClanahan, Kluber, Glasnow, and that lineup that you just talked about. Now, there's a lot of ifs in this scenario. There's a ton of ifs in this scenario that we're talking about. But I'll tell you what, it gives you hope. And this team just is so scrappy. You think they're going to find a way to win a wild card spot and just get in. And you start throwing and Shane Baz, let's just say he's been rough. It's been rough. The results have been rough, but especially the last game. But we know the stuff that this kid had. The stuff is there. And when he finally gets comfortable in the major leagues, he's going to be a very, very good pitcher. So, and the bullpen, again, is performing well. I mean, Adam has been just unbelievable.
I thought he should have been an all-star.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
How is he not?
Well, there's a lot
might be added.
He might be added late, but there's a lot of people that are in the baseball world that think he should have got in there too. Because if you go back and look at his numbers this year and Kittredge's of last year, it's very comparable.
There's no doubt.
But I'm glad you gave Corey Kluber some of his praise because he's a guy we haven't talked a lot about. He's not flashy, right? He doesn't have the stuff maybe. He doesn't throw as hard, maybe the gas that he had when he was in Cleveland.
Right.
But the stuff is still there.
Maybe a better overall pitcher.
He's a pitcher.
Yeah.
Like he's a pitcher. And he's playing that Charlie Morton role, I think, to perfection right now.
Really is. You see his interviews. He is about as unemotional and professional, boring Major League Baseball veteran as you're gonna get. But the dude is ripping it really, really well. And it's been a big part of their success. Let's give Mejia a big attaboy as well. Not only does he get the big pinch hit last night, but that pickoff. Do we have that play?
I don't think we have the pickoff. No.
The pickoff of Verdugo at third. They get 2 on, nobody out in the 7th, right after the Rays score. And you're thinking it's a 3-2 game. You're thinking, oh my God, they're going to give up the lead right here. And Verdugo Verdugo gets picked off third. Mejia from his knees just absolutely rips one down there. And as I think it was Taylor Wall said, it was a missile. And he picks him off, and then Beeks gets out of it. I thought that was a huge play right there. And then again, the bullpen, Adam and the boys locking it down the rest of the way.
Yeah,
Beeks, nice win.
Yeah, Beeks was able to get out of trouble. Rayleigh came in the ninth.
Rayleigh was good.
It was great.
Yeah.
They did all the things they needed to do, and you got to take advantage of when the other team makes mistakes. You have to take advantage in these tight games against these good teams. This was the RBI. The RBI.
This was huge too
from Mejia.
You got to get on the board.
And a liner off the glove and threw into center field. Ramirez will score, and the Rays are on the board. Mejia comes through. A hot shot right back over the mound.
Nice. That's a nice piece of hitting by Mejia right there as they get Sale out of the game, and then they get the RBI, and then the Keystone Cops thing.
Yeah, I hope his bat starts coming around because he was really good last year. He was good at the beginning of the year.
Need it.
Maybe bringing in Bethancourt, who I think maybe he's starting to feel it. I got to get going here.
Yeah.
Bethancourt, he was batting in the 3-hole yesterday.
Yeah.
Him in the 3-hole. He's probably going to play a lot, so Mejia's going to have to pick it up. And last night, he comes in as a pinch player, and has maybe two of the biggest plays of the night.
Yeah, and yes, it's always been the Rays' way. You may show up and you're not in the lineup, but you could be a huge part of the game because they're going to use everybody in every situation. We want to hear from Kevin Cash?
Yes.
Before we hear from the great Harold Ramirez. I have no idea what he's saying, but it's funny.
Sixth inning there. I know it was kind of a comedy of errors, but how crucial was it for you guys to just capitalize in that inning on what they were giving you?
Yeah, it was big because Sale was tough. He looked really sharp for not having pitched all season long in the big leagues. And then Frankie comes up and gets a big hit. We had a couple big at-bats off Brazier. They go to the left-hander, and Frankie picked us up 2-1. And then good for Walls. He squared the ball up. Certainly hope Strom is okay. That looked a little scary on his hand or arm. And then it did seem like, I think Strom was trying to do a lot and probably not in the best headspace because he was in a lot of pain. And we were fortunate to score those two. And then you mentioned Mejia. How big was that pickoff at third base in that inning? Yeah, I mean, him and Kluber were players of the day. Mejia's the pickoff, the pinch hit, and the blocks throughout the game, even with the same inning that he got the pickoff. I mean, Jalen, we were jammed up first and third, no outs. And Frankie and Paredes did a nice job of communicating right there, and Frankie fired it down there. You mentioned Kluber. What did you see from him? Maybe just a couple bloops at a bunt there in the fifth. Yeah, excellent pitch execution. Really impressive that he can do back-to-back starts against that quality of an offense. He did it against the Yankees early on this year, same scenario. But you're right. I mean, 2 blue pits, and then, Dahlbach's fly ball that I'd like to think that we're going to catch that more times than not.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the Phillips were going against you in the fifth inning. Like you say,
they were going against Corey for sure.
On the fly ball.
Yeah.
And then it almost was like a reversal of fortune in the sixth. That you guys stayed at it.
Yeah.
Your way.
I agree. We did a nice job of not getting down because it was a frustrating 2 runs that they scored. And I'm sure they're on the flip side saying similar things. It was a frustrating 2 that we scored.
And he was base running too, right? Just to be the awareness to come around on the last throw there.
And Rodney also staying locked in on everything. I mean, the ball got by, and then I think we kind of got that perfect ricochet where it kept going down the line a little bit.
And the pinch hit there was obvious with the lefty, right? Go to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
G-Man there.
Yeah. I mean, G-Man is more times it's the other way around where G-Man's getting the big pinch hit at bat, but felt like with the lefties that they had, Mejia was going to give us a good shot.
Like you've seen Mejia do some big things off the bench, especially last year too, right? Hit some big pinch hits.
Yeah, he does have big pitches. Look, he's really calm. He doesn't let the intensity, emotionally, it doesn't affect him. He's himself, and he's calm behind the plate. Even when he comes in and he's sitting there, not doing anything for 6 innings, he's got to come in and close out a game behind the plate. So he did a nice job.
He's hit 97 a couple times.
Yeah, he's done that a couple times this year, but there's a lot of power, and then 92, 91 mile an hour changeups. It's nasty stuff.
What do you think of Bethencourt?
I was really impressed with the way he worked with Klubs. It looked really seamless, kind of like what we were hoping, and he'll get more familiar as the games go by and the reps come, whether it's in games or bullpens or whatever.
A little nice versatility there to be able to keep him in the game.
It helps. It definitely helps. I mean, I think Oakland's even played him in the outfield. I don't know if we'll do that, but to have that ability to go from catcher to first or vice versa helps a lot.
What did you think of Chris Sale?
I thought he was good. Really good. I'm glad that his pitch count wasn't any higher than it was because we had some trouble.
Yeah. With the situation Beeks got himself into, how nice was it just to see him stay composed and come out of that 7th scoreless?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice that he stayed composed. I think a big reason there was composure there is because 2 pitches later, Frankie guns down Verdugo at third base. So that helps a lot. First and third, no out to man on first, 1 out is a big chain of events.
A huge chain of events. So the Rays get a big win, 3-2. And then tonight we got the wonderful Shane McClanahan on the bump. Who are they throwing tonight? I forgot.
Yeah, I had the name right here in front of me because it's a bit of eat you up a little bit. This name here for Boston.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
I don't even care because McClanahan's the one we want to see pitch tonight. The night before,
Josh Winkowski.
Oh, Winkowski. Oh, the old the Winkowski, the wanker. So, McClanahan, his last start before the All-Star game, before he finds out that he won't start because they want an all LA show between whoever it's going to be, but it's not going to be the deserving pitchers from the Marlins and the Rays. There's no way Major League Baseball is going to. And your starting pitchers, 2 guys nobody outside of Florida has even heard of. But that, that's Major League Baseball's fault, by the way. They don't promote anybody but the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Braves. So, nobody knows who Shane McClanahan is because you never put them on national television.
The players know.
Oh, the players know, of course.
But
if you go out and talk to, 99% of America has never even heard of Shane McClanahan.
By the way, is he the first USF All-Star?
Yes, he is. Yeah. Well, I saw somebody put a meme up. I think it was it USF? It might not have been USF. So, but I'm pretty sure he's the first USF All-Star, and incredibly deserving. And
time to lock him up. It's time to lock him up.
Long term.
Long term.
Well, we already did that with Franco.
Well, you need the package.
Yeah.
At some point, I need the Rays to pick the pitcher that they're going to get long term and actually mean it long term. And I think this is
they're not going to mean it long term anyway. But whatever you can do. The sample size is big enough now.
Yeah, and you might have some help because he's a local kid.
Yeah,
and you can get it at your affordable.
Maybe we can get him an NIL deal from a local car dealer or something to help pitch in.
Maybe
because we need it. All right, so and we'll be that'll be a good camp tonight, and I'm sure he wants to impress and go out there and do something big tonight. But doesn't need to do anything different. Don't change a thing.
And by the way, the Rays Club last night.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you. You attended the game last night. How was your in-game experience? Wasn't a big crowd.
Not a big crowd, but the Rays Club was packed.
So $70 outfield tickets. The
Rays Club was packed.
Keeps it a little low.
The one of the ushers there, she was talking to someone in front of me, and she's like, "This is as packed as it's been all year in the Rays Club." And it was. They
heard you were coming.
They heard I was coming.
Yeah,
and I was.
Did you sign a lot of autographs? Take pictures last night?
No, but our boy Dave Randorf was in there. I think he was probably signing autographs and taking pictures.
Oh, Dave was there.
Dave was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Rays Club. It's the Chase Club of
the
Rays. I've been there many times. Hopefully they've improved the food. And
I enjoyed it.
What would they have?
I enjoyed it.
Give us the whole rundown.
I had like a smoked sirloin that they they butcher it there right at the thing.
Little carving station.
Nice. There you go. And I had what I thought was mashed potatoes, but it was something called polenta.
Oh yeah, polenta. You know polenta?
It kind of tasted like grits almost.
Yeah, it's kind of a
grits type thing.
Yeah.
They had like a chicken wing bar where you get wings and then put your own sauce on them. They had hot dogs.
How were the wings?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, were they good wings or were they?
Yeah, I thought they were okay.
Okay.
They were okay.
Because you're a wing connoisseur.
Yeah, they passed my test for a baseball game.
1 to 10. What do we get?
7, 8.
Wow.
7, 8.
Wow, that's impressive.
I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved. They still have the sausage and hot dog.
The sausage and hot dog bar.
Yeah,
I had to make it really
good. Yeah,
I still had to.
Yeah.
Oh, the mac and cheese. They have this like white mac and cheese there.
Ooh, white cheddar mac and cheese.
White cheddar mac and cheese. That might have been the best item, actually. I take it back. Might have been the best item. And then, but the bar was, it's the bar. That's what we were there.
So
for.
what do they have an IPA selection?
They have one IPA. It's a free dive.
Free dive, yeah,
which is usually a solid free dive.
That's a great IPA, yeah.
But
Coppertail.
I was not drinking that though. But we were wearing that bar out.
You were drinking the crappy Bud Light.
No, I had the Mick Ultra.
Oh, the Mick. Oh.
I had the Mick Ultra
Much
on
better.
the draft. The draft selection was odd. I'm going to put that out there. It was free dive, Stella, Bud Light, Mick Ultra, and Corona. And first of all, I've never seen Corona on draft. I didn't even know that was even a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. That was kind of an odd selection.
I think it's a good cover all the bases selection.
But then they had like a bunch of seltzers and like
vodkas
and
liquor,
cans and liquor too.
Yeah.
And it's all like exclusive.
Yeah.
So or inclusive, whatever the word
inclusive,
is.
yeah.
Inclusive. There you go.
Yeah.
And
that's what, about 140 a ticket?
It was 140 a ticket, I think. I did not pay for it.
Right.
But I think it's a damn good deal, to be honest.
No,
and I might not watch a game another way.
If you're going to go drinking and eating, I mean, if you're going to pay $70 for an outfield ticket, and those tickets down below, those tickets behind Ray's dugout, they're for big series like this are like 140.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you go in the club?
I thought
it's a no-brainer.
To me, it was the best deal. And Casey, I tell you what, she might hate the Trop more than you do.
Right.
Okay.
Is that possible? Really?
That's possible.
Okay.
She might hate the Trop
Because
more
she
than
hates
you do.
baseball.
She just hates the Trop.
Okay.
And and I quote, "The Rays do not fit my vibe." And I quote from her. She says their whole vibe as a team is just off for her.
But what would she? This is interesting. How would she describe their vibe? You think?
She says they look poor.
They look poor.
They look poor.
What? What does that mean? Their uniforms?
Yeah, she just says
their
they
whole
just look
vibe.
like, she said, "I've just looked." She's like, we were like driving up to the stadium. She's like, every time I come here, it's like I'm going to the circus. That's what she looks like.
They are the trailer trash of Major League Baseball. I think that's pretty. You got the greedy penny pinching miser owner, right?
Yeah.
Who owns the trailer park. Who's raising your rent $10 every month, right? So you got the greedy penny pinching owner of the trailer park, and he's not putting any money into it. You call him up with a complaint. He's, hey, put some duct tape on it.
Yeah.
Shut up. Don't bother me. Yeah. Not going to spend any money on upgrades, get a new gate for the front. No, we're not. How about the pool? We're going to resurface. No, we're not resurfacing the pool. We got a lot of people getting injured in that pool. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Keep playing on it. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Toughen you up a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, I get it. That's what she's talking about. Yeah.
She says it's just not an inviting atmosphere.
I think she nailed it.
For her whatsoever.
I think that is in succinct words, absolutely perfect. They look, yeah. And she doesn't want to be associated with some chintzy ass poor baseball team. No offense to people living in trailer parks.
No, I say this because she told me, she's like, you have to like put what I said out here as a person on the outside who doesn't really care either way. Here are my thoughts when I go to this stadium and I watch this team in that stadium. She's just like, it just makes everything so boring for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell. I mean, if you've ever been to, you still haven't been to another park yet, have you?
I've only been to Marlins Park. Which is not a good one to compare to.
But, when you ever go to, there's a magical thing about going to some of these iconic parks. It's hard to describe, but when you walk up through the tunnel of Wrigley Field and you see the iconic ivy and you just look up and it's just this romantic feeling of baseball of yesteryear, but in the modern day. You hear the organ, it's outside, you smell the grass. It's all part of it. It's all part of, because baseball, just in general, I mean, it's a slow game. We could go on and on of how it doesn't fit the modern American taste, but it's that part of baseball that is somewhat indescribable. That romanticism of yesteryear and nostalgia that I think attracts a lot of people to the game.
I was going to say, in-game entertainment,
you don't get that.
Was like non-existent.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh, you didn't like the DJ Kitty, Raymond, and Harry the Pelican, or whatever the hell his name is.
True story.
Race.
It's true story. Unless I actually just like happened to look down, I wouldn't have even known that the Rays had a mascot anymore.
Raymond.
But there wasn't he wasn't like anywhere.
Yeah, he wasn't like Thunderbug going everywhere.
He wasn't like on the screen. There was no like mascot race. There was no bottle race.
Well, there is a mascot race.
Well, there wasn't that one. There wasn't there yesterday.
I think it was like in the sixth inning.
I don't even think we had the Carvel hat shuffle last night.
Really?
Now I was a few drinks in, so maybe I missed it. And I couldn't even hear the PA system either. By the way, I couldn't even hear the guy whoever was like on the screen. I couldn't even hear what he was saying. First of all. Because
of the Rays Club, the way it's kind of set back.
I guess so. You can't hear anything.
Yeah, when you're inside, they don't have it over the PA in the Rays Club. The PA doesn't come over the PA.
No, but even when I was sitting in my actual seat, I still could not hear him.
Still couldn't hear it.
No, it's very faint in there.
Huh.
So
yeah, the in-game experience is just awful. The game presentation is awful. There's nothing redeeming about that place, except I kind of like the tiki bars in the outfield because I've been pitching for those for a long time. The ledges where you can watch and just have beer. This 360 walking, I like that part of it, but the rest of it is just trash, and it doesn't give you any of those romantic, nostalgic feels whatsoever. It's just a plastic Walmart of a baseball stadium, and as Casey so eloquently put it. It looks poor. It looks poor. Yes.
I told her, I'm like, we should do this like 2 times a year because it's not that expensive. And she goes, 2 times? She's like, we're doing this once. That's it. I'm never coming back. It's like what she said for the rest of the season.
This is from Lonnie Wilkins, who's watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Lonnie, for watching us on YouTube and chiming in. He says, JP, you're dead on. I've worked for the Cubs since 2018, and every day is like walking into Oz. Work is work, but people come to see it, and fans love it. Remember the blown-out Trop speakers in 2021? Yeah, if speakers were blown out, they didn't even fix them. That's the Trailer Park Stu. That's what he is. He's got a new nickname, Trailer Park Stu. Yeah. Luke W says Stu is a man of the people. In that way, I don't think so. What is this? $150 for a blank jersey? They got to be high. What does that even mean?
This one right here.
This one. Okay, I'm sorry. Did I screw that up? Fine,
I'm clicking. All
right, you click. You click. Don't forget to get an overpriced blank jersey for an additional $50. You can get a name. Meanwhile, Wrigley Field is $150 for anything you want. Thanks to we're overpriced on everything, folks.
$50 for a hat now.
Yeah,
I don't know if that has to do with inflation, which I saw is a record
9.1 today.
9.1.
And by the way, I don't know about you, but if you think it's 9.1, you're nuts.
Yeah,
because we're paying double for gas. That's 100%.
But maybe that's why. Because I stopped into the Bay Republic.
Real estate's up 35%. I mean, where the hell they get 9.1%? You go to a restaurant, prices are up at least 40% across the board. This 9.1%, I don't know where what ass they're pulling that out of. In my world, inflation is about 40%, 50%.
Perhaps, but
anybody else with me on that? When they say like, oh, it's 8.6%, I'm like, what? Gas is up 150%. Real estate's up 40%. That's two of the biggest expenses. Rent's up 40%. I mean, everything else is 9.1%. No, not even close.
Well, yeah. Like I said,
the JP economic indicator, no, we're up 40%. Just throwing that out there.
Like I said, one walk to the store, $50 hats, and I'm out.
$50 hats
for a hat.
For a hat. Are you kidding? By the way, did you see that fine Rays hat that I was wearing the last couple days?
Yeah, you said it was Walmart, right?
$12.
Oh, Walmart's got some deals.
$12.
Walmart and Target have some little good deals.
That's authentic. That's not even a knockoff. That's $12 hat. Nice hat too. High quality hat.
Great comment right here by Richie P. By the way,
what did he say?
It's that simple. It's that simple right there.
Ebor plus nostalgia plus baseball equals success. Thank you. I've been talking with some guys on Twitter, and a lot of people are now in for the fairgrounds. And look, if you want to build a big complex out there and residential and entertainment complex at the fairgrounds and build a stadium, great. Way better than Tropicana Field. I'm all for it. But I think Ebor is a better solution. And because baseball is an urban game. The Monday through Thursday games, you need people to be walking from businesses or taking a short Uber or taking a scooter or bike. They're building all these greenways into Ybor City in downtown Tampa. Residential condos are going bonkers in Ybor and downtown Tampa. They built a stadium there. There's going to be tons more in downtown Tampa and Ybor in that area. And you need, I think, public transportation. The Bright Line is coming into downtown Tampa right near where the stadium will be. So you don't get any of that at the fairgrounds. But again, if the Seminole, if somebody wants to invest in it and do it, I think it's a much better solution than Tropicana Field rebuilding there, like gazillion times better. But Ybor does give you the nostalgia, be able to walk to 7th Avenue and go to some of those great places. And trust me, if that stadium goes in, Ybor will clean up. Become much more mainstream. I can guarantee you that. So you have that, and you have the proximity to downtown, to Channel Side, and all those things that make great baseball stadiums great. And it also will bring much more economic impact to the county in the downtown area, because I think you're talking about, if you go to Petco Field, there are, I think, 2 or 3 condo towers that they built around the stadium that you look into the stadium. Same thing at Truist Field, hotels and condos and businesses that look into the stadium. And I think you're going to get much bigger. The prices will be double what it would be at, quote, the fairgrounds. So you're doubling your tax base. That's going to help pay for the stadium. So I think the numbers work much better in Ybor City. And by the way, the height restriction thing that was brought up by Mayor Castor, the Gasworks area and all other places where the stadium could be built are outside of that historic district area. So that's why the original design of the Rays Stadium back in 2018 there was no problem with the height restriction. So don't worry about that. So Ybor is still the place for me. I still think that's where it's going to be built. It makes the most sense in terms of economic. That's another thing about the fairgrounds. They don't have the special development tax incentives that you have in downtown Ybor or downtown Tampa and Ybor. Those are already in place, and it gives developers the huge tax breaks that they need to help get more money into the coffers for in that when you have those development taxes that come in there.
I did want to ask you this, and I probably know the answer to this, but I saw like a package that someone did. Forgive me, I can't remember who it was last night. And they were talking to like all the business owners that are local around the Trop, like Fergs and all these guys. And obviously they want the stadium to stay.
Of course, yeah.
And they said they think that there's potential to do like a type like Wrigleyville type setup there with a new stadium in that location, and it could boom and all that. I mean, do we really? I know we're like anti that location because I just think it's ridiculous. But is there any possibility you think that we could get something like that?
Well, yeah, I think developers would be somewhat interested in it, but again, it doesn't change the location, and the location is such a crucial thing when you have, when you're building a huge entertainment complex like the Braves did and Arlington and the Rangers did. You have to be in a large population center and close to your fans. Now, where Cobb County isn't downtown Atlanta, but it is actually in the center of where their fans are. It's much closer to the center of where their fans are. Their fans, if you look at their season ticket holders, they did a map once in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and all of their season ticket holders are like in the northern part, Gwinnett County, Cobb County, out in the northern part of Atlanta, Buckhead, and that whole area. Whereas Turner Field was way down in the corner south of downtown. So what they did is they moved to the center of their fan base, and the Reds, the Rays would be doing the same thing, moving to the center of where most of their fans come from, and obviously where most of all the growth is going to come from. We're not growing west, by the way. I mean, look at the map. So it doesn't change any of that. So if you're an investor, would you rather, if you're going to be looking to get 365 days of people coming, not just baseball games? See, if you build that in St. Pete, you're not going to get the year-round traffic that you would get over on the Tampa side, because you're going to be within, right now, 2.4 million people within a 30-minute drive, and within 10 years, you're probably looking at 3.5 million, and you spread that out to an hour and a half, you're looking at 8 to 9 million people. Over into the Orlando area in the I-4 corridor. So if you're a developer, which location would you want to take and risk your money? It's a no-brainer. It's where there's more people. So yeah, it still doesn't fix that. And I know that there's still more, quote, more money, more tourism tax for Pinellas. And I keep saying that's great, but as a mayor or a city councilman or anybody, do you want to really put $600 million into Stu Sternberg's pockets and keep the Rays there? When, you heard the mayor talk about his priorities, which were affordable housing, equity, a lot of things that he was elected for. And that certainly doesn't jive with giving, Stu Sternberg $600 million and not only that, but using land that they could use for affordable housing on a baseball stadium that, frankly, the people of St. Petersburg and Pinellas have voted with their dollars and butts for 24 years. They don't care about. They don't go to the games. Why would you build another one? Makes no sense politically, fiscally, and it's not what's best for the entire region. So, yeah, it could be done, but I don't think it's a very good idea. Here's something from Joe F. If they do St. Pete, they have to join forces with Tampa and develop some kind of mass transit, which would help both locations. Again, you can get put a bright line or whatever you want into St. Pete. It's still St. Pete. It's still on the edge of the market. It's still surrounded by water. That's never going to change. Everything, all the lipstick you want to put on it, it's not going to, change the foundation of what's underneath. And that's a lack of centralized population, which is what you need for a sport that has 81 home games and 2 weeks in a row of a homestand, where not everybody is going to the games every night. You got to have a bigger population center. And I don't know why we keep trying to change something that's not changeable. Instead of trying to shoehorn, something into some, a square peg into a round hole. Why don't you just go to where the solution is and get that done? But of course, our wonderful owner doesn't want to do that. Another comment here, kind of off topic. JP, do Wade Boggs ever disclose why the Rays act like he and other alumni never existed? Can't even get these guys for playoff appearances or anything. No, except to just shake his head and just, be disgusted with ownership, as most of the alumni players are. No, the Rays do nothing for their alumni. They make no celebrations. When's the Old Timers game?
I haven't seen it on the calendar.
No, I haven't either. No, they reject their history. It probably, you know why? Because it costs money. They have to give their family like free tickets and stuff like that. And I don't think they're really interested in that.
They sure as hell make a killing off the Wade Boggs jerseys, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wore mine last night. The old Devil Rays stuff. It seems to be like a lot of the merchandise they push out now. But I don't see those. I mean, they didn't win anything to be honored, but still though.
He got his 3,000th hit in a Rays uniform.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Freddie McGriff, still lives here. He'd love to be part of it. Yeah. I don't care what you say, but if you did an Old Timers game, it would be great. I think you'd have a full house. Bring back all the nostalgia. People love nostalgia, and the Rays actually have some. The teams were terrible, and the uniforms were interesting. The socks are ridiculous. But once again, things that other teams do that the Rays don't do for their fans. I mean, let's start a list. Luke W. says starting catcher out, starting second baseman out, Wander out, center fielder out, right fielder out, best four relievers out, Glass out, and on we go. Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely bananas how this team is able to pull it together each and every day.
Yeah, when I looked at the standings real quick, like I realized that maybe it's just a lot of these teams in the AL just have holes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the way it is. All these teams have holes and they're very comparable, and you just got to keep your head above water at this point.
Yeah.
And even though there's been times where the Rays look like they're just dead in the water, like last week when they get swept by the Reds.
Awful.
And it was an awful series every game, and they come right back, and they've now won 2 against the Red Sox.
And again, I say they played their C- game, because if you add in the injuries and the base running and the errors, I mean, it's been a colossal mess for the entire season. It's not Rays baseball. And yet here we sit with the third best.
It's crazy.
And that bodes well. That bodes well. It means that once you get half of your team back and start playing the way we know, and one of the reasons we've played so poorly defensively and everything else is because we don't have the guys that we normally have. It's not the core of the team. So that's what you're going to get. So there's a lot of hope for this team. At the beginning of the year, I'm like, hey, 88 wins, maybe touch 90.
And that's probably, I think, what they're on pace for.
Yeah, and so I think that's where they're at. But I think they could be a really good team at the end of the year. Whereas last year, I thought they were better during the regular season, and you knew with the rookies starting in the postseason, you weren't going anywhere. So you didn't have a lot of hope. Where this could be kind of the switch. You could be playing poorly, but hanging in there. And then as you get to August and September, you start getting guys back, and get Glass now back in any way. I mean, you're like, wow, this could turn into something interesting. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm at today. All right. 43 minutes of nonstop sports talk. We love to do it for you here, but now we got to take a break and thank our wonderful sponsors, including American Mortgage Services, BAMMC, Chris Palermo, Italiano Insurance, Heroes Mile. We'll hear more about that. All our great sponsors and the Golden Diamond Source. Back in a few. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home. Get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking for a new primary care physician, why not Christopher Lugo and his great medical team over there? They work with some of our top pilots in the military. He's a member of the National Guard as well, so we thank you for your service, Mr. Lugo. In fact, we're going to have him on tomorrow or Friday to talk about weight loss, testosterone therapy, getting your immune system boosted up for, I guess there's another wave of COVID coming through. So you want to make sure you're in your best shape and your immune system is boosted. So we'll talk to Dr. Christopher Lugo about all that coming up. But if you're interested, go to BAMMC.com and you can contact them through email or give them a call and set up an appointment. They will spend 45 minutes to an hour on your first visit to get all your history, find out what's going on with you, and develop a personalized program for you, not a one-size-fits-all like most other places do. It'll be personalized to your blood work, to your metabolism, to your habits, to your schedule, and get you on the right track to full health. It's BAMMC.com. All right, we're going to get into Bucks situation here. Gronk spoke with Mike Reese yesterday of ESPN at a fundraiser in Boston. And this is the first time we've actually heard it come out of his mouth. You know, he made a statement to announce his retirement. So it was good to kind of put the voice and the, as I like to call it, the nonverbal communication. And from what I saw, I'm still not buying. You make up your own mind and hear what you think may or may not be the conviction in his voice. So here's Gronk.
Your life. I mean, I've been playing for 30 years. I mean, that's all I really know. And just to have that transition, to be able to just jump right into the business ventures is awesome. I mean, it gives me a jump start on what, defining my foot, what I want to do next, where I want to be, like what place I have in this world. So my dad gave me an opportunity with Rock Fitness and Ice Shaker, and I can just find a way, find my roots of where I need to be and what I can do to help improve the products and get it out there.
You have so many fans out there from football that are probably curious.
Yes.
Like, would Rob come back, right, this season? What would be your answer to them?
Wow. Well, I already told everyone, but I'm back to tailgate. Yes, come back to tailgate. There we go. But I'm done with football. Love the game. Love the game, and definitely blessed with all the opportunities the game of football has given me, and the relationships I've met. Obviously here in New England for 9 seasons and down in Tampa for 2. But no, done with football and stepping my feet into the business world, the business ventures, and just seeing what's out there and where I can find my place.
And one follow up on that, Drew Rosenhaus mentioned if Tom called you, it might be tough to say no. What would be your response if that happens?
Drew is #1 football agent out there. He loves anything that has to do with the NFL and loves to see his players always be playing. But no, I would answer, obviously. I would obviously answer the greatest quarterback of all times and ask him how he's doing and tell him I'm doing good. But I wouldn't go back to football now.
I'm still not buying it. The nonverbal tells me that that's just more, stop asking me questions about it. I don't want to answer questions about it everywhere I go. I'm going to put it to bed, but I'm still coming back when I want to come back.
He couldn't say it with a straight face.
He couldn't.
He just kept kind of loud. He had the little side smile going on, and at the end there, he totally just gave it away.
Right. I mean, if you watch it, I retweeted it. It's on our show page on Nick Geddes News as well. I mean, I just don't buy it. He just doesn't. I don't get the conviction in the voice there. That sounded like a guy that just is putting something out there so people just don't ask him about it anymore.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I mean, it could be done.
I mean, we went through this yesterday with Scott Reynolds. Have you heard any other things lined up for him going on?
No,
I
nothing
mean, yesterday,
big. I mean, he's at Ice Shaker. I don't even know what Ice Shaker is.
It's his brother Chris's company, which he did say that he is going to be involved with that now.
Of course he is, but that's not going to preclude him from playing.
But that shouldn't preclude him from playing,
right?
I mean,
he hasn't signed a deal with WWE, which is going to take up all his time or whomever. No. I mean, it's not right. He hasn't done any of that. He hasn't committed to major movie projects or maybe television project. I've heard, because I think if he would, it would be announced.
Yeah, and the Bucks still got money for him, by the way.
Yeah,
I put it right here because I wrote this story for Outsider yesterday. They have $12.448 million in cap space right now, and that includes a $5 million in dead cap which was part of Gronkowski of his deferred signing bonus.
Yeah,
so they've clearly they're leaving the door open.
Yes.
And there was the report last week that they were optimistic that he was going to come back before training camp, which I don't think that's happening. I don't think training camp. No
He's
way.
Definitely not coming back before training camp. But I think the beginning of the season is too important. I said this yesterday. So I think that they're going to have him and then load manage him on the entire season. Might even miss him. And I think that's smart. That's smart for a guy of his injury. Now, I did hear on Get Up this morning I forget exactly who said it, but it said that this is more injury related, that he's still injured from last year. I don't know if it doesn't look like he's injured in any way. Jumping around, and
it was a punctured lung, was it not?
Yeah, it was a punctured lung.
If I already have retired once because my knees and my back are already beat up, and then I get a punctured lung during the season, which I probably came back early because
I would really think about retiring.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what this guy feels like on the inside.
We don't. But I know this, he's going to feel a lot better in about a month and a half when time comes, or 2 months. It's still, I mean, you think about it. It's what we're July 13th right now, and he really doesn't need to be back until the last week in August.
Yeah, there's no sense in him beating up his body.
What, 6 weeks?
Yeah, there's no sense in him beating up his body in camp. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is like the hottest summer I think I've ever felt.
It's hot because we haven't had a whole lot of rain. Yesterday we got some, but the more days you go when you're not getting a whole lot of rain, it just gets awful.
Somebody said something on Twitter, like I think a week ago, and it was like, the sun right now feels like we got a new sun, and like they're in the first month of their new job and they're just going ultra try hard.
It kind of feels that way.
That's kind of what it feels like.
The difference between being in the sun and being in the shade,
oh my gosh,
feels like 30 degrees. It really does. It feels like 30 degrees. I mean, I've never been, I was out at the pool at the Don this weekend. And I mean, it's like just when you walked out into the sun, it was like, oh my, like I'm in an oven. I just like get under. And I never felt that way before. I've always felt like, oh, I'll be in the sun for a little bit, then I'll take a break. It was unbearable.
No, and
as soon as we went in underneath the shade, it was great. It was fine.
Yeah. And did you get in the ocean by chance?
No, did not.
The ocean is so hot.
Yeah, I heard it's like 90 degrees. That's why I didn't want to go out there.
Like the ocean feels like, I feel like really hot water just feels like nasty to me.
Yeah, it does. And especially the ocean, the Gulf water. But if you're any ocean water at 90 degrees is awful.
It's
awful. So yeah, when in the pool, it's like 75, 80 degrees,
nice.
which is perfect. Yeah, it's nice. So yeah, pool, golf, I'll take the pool.
Point is, there's no need for Gronk to be out there doing that.
Yeah.
If we're not going to be inside in that practice facility, which they might use more, I think, this year.
Yeah, and they're doing everything early in the morning. They're not doing
time.
No, they're not going out there in the afternoon. No, everything's in the morning. I think every practice starts at 8:30 and they'll be done by 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, it's the way you got to do it. And they'll probably come out for afternoon stuff in the indoor facility, which is a must have. I can't believe it took them so long to build that sucker. But yeah, and I mean, I listen to that and I watch it, and I just don't get the sense of a guy that's totally done. I mean, maybe just help. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking, but that's what it feels like to me.
No, and they also had a question on Get Up today, and I thought it was interesting. They were talking about Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes because they all, at the moment, have lost a big target. Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, Rodgers lost Devontae Adams, and Brady lost Gronk. And they were asking the panelists, who's going to feel that loss more, Gronk, Hill, or Adams. And like two of them said Gronk is going to be like the biggest loss, like a bigger loss than Devontae is to Rodgers and Hill to Mahomes. Like, do you see it that way?
I mean, Devontae Adams? No. I mean,
they put up Rodgers' numbers without Devontae Adams the last few years. The Packers are 7-0, and Rodgers has a 19-1 touchdown interception ratio without Devontae Adams in the lineup.
Have you seen Brady's numbers without Gronk?
Did you see our offense last year without Gronk?
Yeah. Brady's numbers, I think his quarterback rating is 20 points lower.
It wasn't pretty last year.
No,
without him.
The numbers without Gronk we might be able to call those up but I remember seeing them the other day, and I'm like, holy crap, that's dramatic. I knew it was going to be dramatic, but I was like, wow, that's really dramatic.
Yeah,
I think the QBR is and the touchdown to interception ratio is dramatic. Is obviously because of the QBR rating. I mean, it's dramatic. It's really, really different. And so yeah, and that's the reason why I think he's coming back. I just don't think Brady knows that more than anybody, right?
Because I mean, and like his replacement is Cam Brate, and like I know Cam Brate's done a lot of great things, but I don't think he's nearly the same player he was before, especially last year. I thought it showed a little bit. He's not young anymore, and him and Brady, I don't think have established a connection at all.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, Jameis had a way better connection with Cam Brate than Brady has had.
Yeah.
But maybe, he's obviously been working with Gronk so much. Maybe that's going to be one of his emphasis is to get Cam Brate involved into the offense. But it's such a fascinating question because on the surface, you probably look at, okay, well, the Bucs still have Mike Evans. They still have Chris Godwin. But in a way, you can make the argument that Gronk's the biggest loss there.
Yeah. Here it is. Brady's average passer rating of 102.9 as opposed to 88.9 when he's out. For perspective, Ben Roethlisberger has a passer rating of 88.9 this season. That was 21. So, I mean, think about that. Brady, 210 present, postseason included. Let's see if I get
And
this.
that's over the life of their careers.
Life of their careers, yeah. So with Gronk, we're looking at 292 yards per game, touchdowns per game, 2.26, Without him, 267 yards per game, so 30 yards lower. Touchdowns 1.67 per game compared to 2.25. That's humongous.
Look at this one right here. They had the same numbers right here. Tom Brady without Gronk since 2012. Andy Dalton since 2012 has higher numbers than Brady without Gronk since 2012.
So without Gronk, Brady is Andy Dalton.
He's mid.
Suck that up for a second. And that's why I say there's no way Brady comes back without getting an assurance from Gronk. Come on.
Come on. The numbers are there.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a bad visual for me. This is Brady with Andy Dalton's haircut.
He looks like the kid from The Incredibles, all grown up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That kid, all grown up.
That's a bad visual for me.
It really is.
Anyway.
Where is it? Where is he now?
Who, Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
I swear he's Jameis's backup. Is he not?
I don't know where the hell he is.
Hold up.
Yeah.
This is why Google exists. Andy Dalton. I could have swore he's Jameis's backup. Yeah, he is. Saints.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's likely we see him this year. Probably likely.
I mean, it is so stark, the difference. I just don't see, and if the Bucs had a capable replacement, like if it was a Ali Marpet to Shaq Mason deal, then I'm good. But there's nobody out there like that. There's nobody out there like that, and nobody that he has the chemistry with. You can't just say, "Oh, we'll just replace him." Everything about the competitiveness of Tom Brady tells me that he wouldn't be back if Gronk wasn't coming with him at some point, if he didn't have those insurances.
It makes me wonder, like, I think we talked about this with Scott yesterday, not wanting to stall the development of Kate Otten and O'Keefe because you want to get those guys in there.
Yeah.
But we recognize this is a 1-year type deal here. We have 1 year to maximize it. And it's like, if Gronk really doesn't come back and you can't really trust Cam Brate to be the number one right now, and you don't know what you're going to get out of Kate Otten yet. We know O'Keefe ain't catching footballs.
Right.
It's like, do you go out to the free agent market and bring a veteran in? And I pulled up the list here of tight ends. There's about 4 guys who are going to be familiar names to everybody that have played in this league for a while and that are veterans. And maybe he would have a better connection with, like Jimmy Graham, people have talked about, Eric Ebron, Kyle Rudolph, and Jared Cook. Any one of those that get you, like, you think?
No.
It wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt. No, I'll add it. I'll add any of them, except I'm not a big Jimmy Graham guy.
He's 35. He might be down on my list, but Jared Cook still just seems to catch everything that comes his way.
Yeah, and he's a good blocker.
I mean, Kyle Rudolph, kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Eric Ebron is maybe more explosive than those guys. Not as old.
But I mean, definitely something that Brady could work with. But it's not even close. It's not even close when Gronk is out there, and that's because of the chemistry that those two have. In crucial situations, third down and red zone, how often do you see him looking for Gronk? Because he knows how to beat defenses. He knows how to. It's just something that it's a chemistry thing. It's obviously a size thing with Gronk. He's always open because of his catch radius, his great hands. Those unspoken nods of the head. He knows what to do in certain situations. It's just, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Brady is a rather average quarterback when Gronk's not on the field. So I don't think Brady would come back for one more year with all this fanfare and everything else if Gronk wasn't going to be part of it. And here's the guy sits at 33 years old. He was good last year. There wasn't a major drop off in his production and the way he looked. I thought he looked great when he came back from the injury. And, so if the only thing that's keeping Gronk from coming back is the fact that he's tired of getting hit, he's a badass. That ain't his makeup, man. It's just not. He ain't afraid of it. He's not. I mean, he's probably tired of getting hurt. I get it. But plus, Brady's his boy. He ain't going to say no to Tom. I'm telling you. It's just not. It's not. It goes against everything you see that you've seen from these guys, and I don't. And just because he did an interview and said it, everybody's like, oh, that closes the door right there. That closes the door. How is it any different? It's a different from a statement. I get it. But I watched that nonverbal. I'm like, no, he doesn't look like a guy that's definitely done. Like, I'm freaking done. He looks like a guy that's basically putting the stuff out there so he doesn't get any more questions. And he's still going to get them.
Perhaps.
So we'll see. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I want to get into this LeBron James thing that's blowing up on Twitter. Said something really stupid and then tried to backtrack on it. That didn't work so well either, regarding Brittany Griner and her situation over in Russia. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into the Lightning as well. We've been waiting to hear something. Free agency starts at 12 noon. Andre Palat still does not have a deal with the Lightning, so it looks like he's headed for free agency. So we'll hit that when we come back as well. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. If you're looking to get engaged this summer, great place to go. The only place to go, really. They have the greatest selection. You can do anything there that you want to find some of the great designers or do something yourself. You want to design a ring yourself, you can do that as well. Sit down with their staff, and they have a great staff that can do all those creative things with the computer and figure it all out. If you've got some old jewelry that you're not wearing anymore, your wife's not wearing, your girlfriend's not wearing anymore, bring it in. That would give you top dollar for that. Gold prices are high, and then you could use that to buy something sparkly there or just take the cash as well. And always remember, they have 0% financing. So if you think you don't have enough money to get a nice big ring, well, go in there and find out what you can get for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks a month. You'll be surprised. There's some great selections there, and it's all right in front of you. It's not something that they have to bring in online. They've got the biggest inventory, and of course, you can trust them. What you get, what they tell you you're getting is what you're getting. A lot of places you don't know. You know if they're fake diamonds, real diamonds, whatever they are. You know the Golden Diamond Source has been there for decades. Julie and Steve Weintraub, huge benefactors of many, many charities here in the area. So as we always say, keep it local and keep it with the family, and it's the Weintraub family. So head on over to the Golden Diamond Source. Tell them JP sent you, please. It's 3800 Ulmerton Road, about 15, 20 minutes from downtown Tampa. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Just got a couple of tweets I wanted to hit here before we get into some of those other things. Our fan, our buddy Race fan Gio just tweeted out, and it's getting a lot of play because he looked it up as I find it on mine because I just retweeted it. The cheapest ticket for Wednesday night game, that would be tonight, is $30, and that is for the party deck. I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous. Outfield seats are $47 on a Wednesday night to sit in that crappy warehouse. And that's so if you want a decent seat, you're looking at $75 to $80 for, I mean, nobody's spending that in the summer. And that's for one ticket. That's before you get to any of the parking, sodas, hot dogs, any of that stuff. Here it is. This is what they tweeted out. Raise Up tweeted out. The cheapest ticket for a Wednesday night game is $30 plus fees. I repeat, $30 for a party deck ticket, $47 for an outfield seat plus fees, so it gets close to $60. And they say, as if population density wasn't bad enough, they expect us to pay top dollar to go sit in a dead, outdated warehouse. Embarrassing. And then they did a screenshot of the ticket prices out there in case you don't believe them. Somebody else tweeted at me about the outfield, or I'm sorry, the student tickets. So I tried calling about the college student tickets that they promote. You have to do it on Monday only. And there is no way around it. So I can't get the cheaper tickets tonight, and we'll have to pay $30 plus fees. Bro, go to a game at Yankee Stadium. Cheap seats are at least 5 times that, and fried level is first level is over again. That's not true. Sorry, buddy. You can go on Yankees. We've done it. We've gone on the Yankees website and saw they had like Cubs tickets are like $9 for the outfield in some games. Yeah, I mean, we've looked at these prices. So yeah, generally speaking, the expensive seats in Yankee Stadium are more expensive, but they've got a lot of options where you can pay a lot less than $47 for an outfield ticket. So, and by the way, that's Yankee Stadium, and that's the Yankees. This is a crappy indoor stadium, and that's for a bad ticket. So sorry, not buying it. All right. It is 11:12 in the morning. Andre Palat has not re-signed with the Lightning, and I think we all know that is not going to happen. So free agency begins at noon. Now, I read online that on Twitter, so I don't know the veracity of this, but Yanni Gourde is in town. There's a lot of Twitter noise from fans that Yanni Gourde has flown to Tampa.
Okay.
Maybe for a summer vacation. He knows a lot of people here.
He lived here for a good amount of time.
Well, it is the first day of free agency, though. I mean, the timing is a little curious.
Would you rather be in Seattle, or would you rather be here? I mean, take your pick.
Yeah, I don't know. The heat's pretty bad. But obviously this would be a trade situation, but I know the Lightning would love to have him back. There ain't no doubt about that.
Well, of course, but the Seattle would never. I mean, Seattle's best player last year was Yanni Gourde. That was their best player.
Okay.
So what sense would that be for them to just flip him? Unless they were like, all right, he's 28, 29 years old. He's got a sizable cap hit. Let's move on. Let's just be a younger team. Let's go that way.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe they're looking for draft picks. Maybe, who knows? I'm just saying that's out there. And who will the Lightning pick? They got about $6 to $7 million in cap space to fill it. And is we said earlier, a left-handed shot defenseman is probably their biggest priority right now.
Yeah, Emily Kaplan put that out there that's their biggest priority today is to replace Ryan McDonough with a left shot defenseman, which if you track your memory, that's not Jan Ruda. He's righty. So, I mean, I think they could probably get Ruda back at a good price, but I took a look at the left shot defensemen that are out there. It's not the most glamorous list. I'll put it out. There's more right-handed guys than there are lefties. But I mean, like Ben Sherrod, I think you're probably familiar with.
Yeah.
And obviously, we saw him in Montreal.
Yeah.
And he was traded to Florida. kind of a big dude. Physical.
What is Myers, the guy they got from?
He's a righty.
Yeah.
So I think he might end up staying if they can't get Ruda, and they sound like they want to work with him and rather than buy him out, which would give them almost $3 million more in cap space. But they're not. Clearly, they don't seem like they're going to do that. There's just not a lot of big names out there. I mean, Nick Leddy, he's a guy who's a veteran but he's more of a offensive defenseman than a defenseman. So that's not really, to me, that's not really a Ryan McDonough replacement. There's just not a lot of big names out there. So maybe they get active on the trade market again.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, we think about free agency, but trades are also a part of this as well. So I have a lot of faith in Julien Brisebois. I think I can't think of one move that he's made that hasn't been a home run to this point. So I have a lot of faith in what he's doing and how he's rebuilding this club. And it was, listen, it was a tough decision to move on from Ryan McDonough, but they got it done, and that's going to give them a lot more flexibility. And that's the other part. We're looking at, who are we going to add? What that mostly does, though, is allow us to keep Chernak, Cirelli, and Sergachev in flexibility of contracts moving forward. So that's the more important part. The McDonough thing is not who we get from McDonough. It's that we're allowed to keep those guys, right? I mean, that's really what we're looking at.
But I still think, though, because the fact that the cap's not moving,
I know.
I mean, I'm looking at a lot of these contracts that are being signed.
Out there. Yeah,
I'm looking at some of the contracts being signed, and I think some of these guys are comparable to Andre Palat, and I actually have a little bit more hope that he may end up coming back. I really do. Yeah. I mean, you see what Malkin signed for yesterday.
Yeah, not spent with 5.1 av.
I think it was 6.1 av.
Yeah,
because it was 4 years, 24 something.
Yeah,
so it was like $6 million.
And 4 years is too much to give to Malkin at age 35. I mean, it's just. I'm glad the Lightning didn't sign that contract.
Yeah, and I don't think he ever really wanted to leave. I don't really think he did. He probably wanted to dip his toes, and then he realized that Pittsburgh was the right place. But some other contracts, like we talked about Evander Kane yesterday, who we said, if you're smart, just stay put next to McDavid, which he did.
Which he did.
And he got 4 years, $5.1 million. Very economical, honestly, in this market.
Yeah.
Andrew Kopp, who we saw for the Rangers, he just signed with Detroit, 5 years, $5.35 million. So
these aren't big deals.
These aren't big deals.
Because nobody has cap space. Nobody has cap space out there.
No, the teams that have cap space are like the Buffaloes of the world, the Seattles of the world. Obviously Arizona's always going to have cap space, but nobody's going there, right? Calgary's going to have some newfound cap space if they can't get, which it looks like they're not getting back Gaudreau. They might turn into sellers now. Detroit's got some space. They want on. I think that, to me, if Andre Palat's going to go anywhere else, Detroit just seems like the fit. It just seems like the fit at this point.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Stevie Y obviously is the one who drafted him, found him as a 7th round draft pick, right? I mean, they just went out and got Andrew Kopp. Clearly, they want to start getting into things now. They want to develop from not only within, but some other guys that they can bring in and kind of get back into the playoffs. And Andre Palat, I think, fits that profile.
Interesting that it's all over the league. So it's actually helping the Lightning that they're, I don't think there may not be a player out there that's going to offer another team out there that's going to offer Palat huge dollars. And if it's a difference between $6 million annual average in Toronto and $3 million here, I would think he'd be smart enough to take the $3 million here and stay and be with the people that you love, and you're still making good money.
He's not getting 3. He's not taking 3. No way. No way. He's taking 3.
Well, look at some of those players you just named. Look, I know he is, I think, second most playoff points on the Lightning. He's got 11 game-winning goals in the playoffs. I mean, his numbers are amazing. There's no doubt about it. But I think we all know that a lot of those numbers are a product of playing with some superstars. And I don't want to say anything negative about Andre Palat. He just brings so much to the game. But you can't sign him for 4, 5, 6, 7 years at $6 million. They just don't have the money to do it. And that means Cirelli's gone. That means Chernak's gone. That means Sergachev's gone. Can't do that.
Yeah, and there's a name that I saw Joe Smith floated out there. Like, if they don't bring back Palat, what are other guys they could go after? And he mentioned David Perron, and he might be a little bit more cheaper, and you don't have to give him as much term because he's already 34.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake, this guy knows how to put the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah.
This is a 30-goal scorer here, a guy that scores 20 to 25 consistently every single year. Last year he had 57 points in 67 games. He knows how to score. And I think you could probably get him maybe around that $5 million mark. And maybe instead of giving somebody like 6 years, like you'd probably have to give Palat, you could give him like 2 or 3. So I think Joe Smith was probably on the nail on the head there. That'd probably be a guy they could go after if they don't get Palat. But we'll see. And we might find out before 12 because all these deals have been signed. I mean, we know how tampering works. Every year, like every free agent's already basically off the market before 12 even gets here.
You mean there's tampering going on?
No.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. All right, let's hit another break. And when we come back, I want to hit this LeBron James stuff. I want to get into that a little bit. Nick Saban as well, talking about the mega conferences. Where is, recruiting is going hot and heavy. Miami is just loading up. Mario Cristobal getting rave reviews for his recruiting in Miami, and they're spending some NIL money as well. So we'll hit college football and the LeBron James. And we got some British Open stuff for you as well as we watch Tiger on the range at St. Andrews. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. The world economy is in chaos and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home. Get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Golden Diamond Tours, 3800 Homerton Road. Check them out. Also by American Mortgage Services, Scott Fitzgerald. We'll get you right. Rates are going up, and they may go up even more with the inflation hitting 9.1%. The Fed may really, really jump it up. So if you've been thinking about refinancing and taking that money out of your house, get it done now. I know it's higher than it was last month, but it's going to go even higher. So if you're thinking about getting that cash out, get it out now. Call Scott Fitzgerald. Just email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. He will get you the lowest rate. And by the way, they have a new program there. If you're buying in a certain zip codes, and they're the only mortgage broker in the area to be able to offer this. If you're buying in certain zip codes that the federal government wants more development and more investment in, and that includes a lot in Ybor City, Seminole Heights, places like that, you can get lower than the going rate. There could be no income verification, all kinds of really, really cool stuff in this government program. Scotty can tell you all about it. So email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com, and ask him about the new program for mortgages. It's a game changer, he tells me. I'm going to get him on to explain more about it. But anyway, if you want to find out more, just go email him, scott@amstampa.com, American Mortgage Services. All right. Wanted to hit this story. LeBron James on his barbershop episode. Do we have the audio? I don't want to. I'd rather you hear it from him than hear it from me. I think was this the trailer for the new episode?
Yeah, this is the trailer, and it's just about 30 seconds long here.
Regarding the Brittany Griner situation, her being detained in Russia.
We'll see which part of here it's in.
White people are collecting black art. Have you had to explain that ever to collectors?
It's not the responsibility of black folks to use their work as a teaching tool.
Brittany Griner, she is in Russia. She's been there
over 110 days. Now, how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America?
I'm not saying you.
They put that in the promo.
Yes.
And understand this, I'm not saying because she did this that the United States should not do their best efforts to get her back. This is a very complicated situation. When she was stateside, this is from Outkick.com. She made a habit of kneeling for the national anthem and previously told the Arizona Republic, quote, "I honestly feel we should not play the national anthem during our season. It's hard to imagine anyone giving a second thought to trading a Russian prison cell for the freedom offered in America," they write there. And again, I think we should do everything that we're doing for other citizens. And by the way, I don't know if LeBron knows this, but there are lots of political Americans being held captive for much longer than Brittany Griner has been. And there's no evidence that those people did, brought in any hashish oil or anything else. And I'm not saying that hashish oil wasn't planted on her. And I know she pled guilty, but this is Russia we're talking about. I don't believe anything that comes out of there. So until we hear it come from Brittany, I think there is video of it. We've seen video of her arrest. Is it conceivable that she would try to do that? Sure. Should she get 10 years for it? No, but that's not our country. I mean, anybody should know that when you're traveling international, you should not be carrying any type of illegal drugs whatsoever. And you should know damn well wherever you're heading that if those drugs are illegal, you better not have them on you. I don't want to adjudicate the case here, but what we're talking about is LeBron's idiotic comments right there. I mean, seriously, you feel like America has your back? I mean, there are other political prisoners there that have been there much longer that have gotten, and those people have not gotten Joe Biden to make a personal phone call, which I believe he has done in getting Brittany Griner out. This is not about what America is doing to Brittany Griner. America, I don't know if you know this, LeBron, how it works. America just can't snap their fingers and say, we want Brittany Griner back, and it happens. In fact, in some of I've seen some reporting done that they're talking about, doing a prisoner swap for someone who was one of the most dangerous criminals in the world for Brittany Griner. So we're going to put a terrorist back on the street to kill more people in order to get Brittany Griner back. I don't want to make any judgments on that, but I think we all can do that ourselves. It's a very complicated situation. Would I love to have Brittany Griner back? Yes, absolutely. It's what she did. Does it deserve the treatment she's gotten? No, absolutely not. But that's by our culture. This is the reason why you don't do those things. So, I mean, but for LeBron James to say that is just ridiculous. He tried to walk it back and say, my comments on the shop regarding Brittany Griner wasn't knocking our beautiful country. I don't think I've ever heard him say our beautiful country in quite some time. It was simply saying how she's probably feeling emotionally, along with so many other emotions, thoughts, etc., inside that cage she's been in for over 100 days. Long story short, hashtag bring her home. Yeah. And as Clay Travis tweeted, fire your marketing team. If you're upset at the reaction to your own words, they recorded you making these idiotic comments, chose to feature them in your show, and then sent them to the media to be featured as if you said something brilliant. They're all idiots too. I would agree with that 100%. From TJ Moe, or you realized how unbelievably stupid it was to blame America for the unfair treatment she's receiving from Russia, and now you're backtracking. That sounds more like it. Absolutely. How is it America's fault? And you feel like you've turned your back on Brittany Griner? Really? Someone who clearly turned her back on America and her comments about America. And maybe she's seeing in a very real way that America's not such a bad place compared to other places on earth, because guess what? It's not. And I don't wish that on her at all. But it is quite ironic that she's experiencing this. And I wonder if she comes back to America and does get her freedom back, if she'll change her tune about this particular country, about how horrible and systemically racist it is, and which is ridiculous in my mind. I don't know. For me, that is, and this is just a long line of stupid ass comments that LeBron James has made about America and his support of China and not being critical of them in any way. And the things that he said about police brutality in this particular country and supporting Black Lives Matter, a Marxist group that certainly does not have the nuclear family and those traditional American values in their certainly was on their website. They scrubbed it off, of course, when they got a lot of backlash for it. And I'm all for Black Lives Matter, the concept, but the actual political group that has done nothing positive for the inner city, and even the George Floyd's family and other of these situations that Black Lives Matter has made tens of millions of dollars over, their families complaining that they've never even heard from the leaders of Black Lives Matter or done anything positive in their situation. So, I mean, I'm sorry if you're being used by other political entities to run down America, and then you say this again and now try to backtrack. It's hard for me to support LeBron James in any of this. And and this is just another example of it. And it's not, and by the way, it's not going to help get Brett Griner back any earlier. That's for sure. It's not. And I have no idea, if and when and what that situation looks like for her, but she may be spending, a long time in a Russian jail, and that sucks for her.
I do think it's ridiculous. And I think she got her detention. She just pled guilty to it. What was it, on Friday, I want to say?
Yeah.
And that was like 4 days before it was extended to December, her detention. December? Like, I understand every country has got their own rules, but like if something of this happened like here, like it might have been like a story for about a couple hours, and then it probably would have been over with.
What do you mean for
what she did?
Oh yeah, but that's the point of this.
I know, it's just like
when
crazy,
all these
though.
athletes are complaining about America and how systemically racist it is and what a horrible country it is, and I say to them, go someplace else and see what it's like. It's the rest of the world is way more racist than America. There is more opportunity here for all people of all colors than there is anywhere else in the world. And I would, and LeBron James is the absolute epitome and personification of that, as is Brittany Griner. Brittany, go try to be a professional basketball player and be a very public, she's married to a woman. So, try that in Saudi Arabia and a lot of other countries in the Middle East and a lot of in Russia and other places. Go, there is more freedom from the LGBTQ community here in America than anywhere in the world, I would suggest, of any major developed country anyway. And yet they keep bitching and moaning about what a horribly systemic, and doing it in ways that I think create a lot of division in this country. And has created a lot of racial division in this country instead of looking at the positives. Yes, do we still have issues? Yes, systemic issues. No, I would argue not. There's so much opportunity, and a lot of these Black athletes are a perfect example of it. And not only that, if you look across the board of how not just Black people are graduating from college, but also other minorities as well, Latinos and Asians and everybody else. I hate labeling anybody because we're all Americans, right? When it comes down to this. And are there disparities in pay? Yeah, we got to do better in certain places, but systemically racist? No, there's so much opportunity. No place is perfect on this earth. But to continue to run down America, and this is a perfect example of why our country is a lot better than others. Look, there's a lot of things about this country right now that really, really bother me. And we're getting more and more like the rest of the world, more and more like China, with our political prosecutions that we're doing here in the United States. We need to turn that around, and we need to be better and more unified as Americans. And this kind of stuff just doesn't help. It doesn't help. It pisses people off. All right. Do we have the Nick Saban audio? We can move on to that.
Yeah, I believe I do here. I got it queued up. Get my tabs. I got a million tabs open here. All right. Here we go.
This is with Craig McElroy on Greg McElroy, always on the Always College Football podcast.
Yes, and I believe this is where he starts talking about what realignment here.
Okay.
Make of the sweeping changes that we're currently going through in regards to another round of realignment?
Well, the pre-alignment, I think, there's a lot of tradition, in conferences that will no longer exist. And I think we've gone through that to some degree in the past. The Oklahoma-Nebraska game used to be a big game, and they've not been in the same conference for quite some time now and quit playing each other. So that's something, but I think we're going to deal with it in, a greater capacity than ever before, because I think mega conferences are probably here to stay. And, market share, there's a lot of that involved in why are we doing what we're doing. My biggest concern is competitive balance. The NFL, which I was involved in for 8 years, every rule that they have is to create competitive balance. And if they could have every team go 8-8, so at the end of the season, every team was playing their last game to get in the playoffs, they would be ecstatic. Because how much fan interest does that create? How much TV ratings and all the things that go into all these things does that create? We don't have any guardrails on what we're doing right now. All right, so we have no restrictions on who can do what. Some people are going to be capable of doing certain things. Other people are not going to be capable. But the bottom line is we'll lose competitive balance, which everything we've always done in college football is to maintain competitive balance. Same scholarship, everybody had to play by the same rules, and whether it was recruiting or whatever. All right, so right now that's not how it is. All right, so if that's the case, you're going to create more haves and more have-nots. Therefore, there'll be less good games. One of my biggest concerns about college football is attendance has gradually fallen off.
Yep.
And I think one of the reasons for that is the quality of games. I mean, we probably play 3 or 4 games every year. Our fans don't really care about coming to see. Well, I don't really want to play any games that our fans don't want to come and see. But based on how the culture of college football is set up, largely because of bowl games and eligibility for bowl games as the result of this, nobody wants to play more games. They want to play games and make sure they can win 6 so they can go to a bowl game. That's not necessarily the standard that we live by here, but still, it's hard to get people to play these games. And even in the SEC, with the new alignment coming up in 24 or whenever, are we going to play 9 games or 8 games? I'm for playing 9. I was for playing 9 5 years ago, and there was no support for it. I even brought up, should we play 10? Now. Because we played 10 one year, because of COVID, and we didn't play any games that people weren't interested in coming to see.
That's a great point.
Every game was an SEC game. Every game in the NFL is an NFL game.
That works.
And they have competitive balance. Like 70% of the games in the NFL, I don't know if this is a current stat, but in the old days when I was in the league, were 7 points decided by a touchdown or less.
Yep.
Yeah.
That creates a lot of fan interest. It creates, I mean, I don't know. I'm crazy, I know, but and anyway, but that's my biggest concern about where we're heading in college football.
All right, let's pass
is
yeah, it's about competitive balance, and it's strange to hear Nick Saban talk about this because he certainly has been dominating for so long. But there are ways to make it more competitive balance. There are ways to play more SEC games. There are ways to get rid of all the silly things in college football. But unfortunately, we have 14 different conferences all playing by different rules. There is no one clearinghouse for scheduling. There is no one, but that's changing as these conferences go more to mega conferences. Now, the word came out yesterday that the SEC was not interested in expanding past Texas and Oklahoma. Okay. Well, what does that mean for Florida State, Miami, Clemson, and I'll throw, maybe North Carolina in there as well, or Virginia Tech. That's, I from what I've been hearing, the SEC was looking at adding FSU and Clemson and some others. But now yesterday, we see some reporting that they're going to stand pat after they go to 16 with Texas and Oklahoma.
So what is the Big Ten? How many teams are they going to have when they get to USC and UCLA? How many teams will the Big Ten? 14, right?
Yeah, I think it's 14.
So let's say they want to cap it at 16. I'm just hypothetical speaking here.
Yeah.
16. Who are the top two? Who are the next two that are not in the SEC in the Big Ten already?
Well, Notre Dame.
Who are the top two?
Notre Dame's number one.
And who's the second?
Clemson?
Probably Clemson, isn't it?
Yeah. I would say if they're going to add two, it would be Florida State. Notre Dame and Clemson.
So if we cap this whole thing at 16, who are the big teams that are who's left out of the clear? It's going to be Florida State.
FSU would be the biggest.
Miami, Oregon. Oregon's probably the biggest one, I think. I think they were ahead of FSU on that chart as a value thing. And they're probably a similar TV commodity. So Oregon, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, I think because of basketball, that holds a lot of weight for them.
Yeah, and they've had some really good years in football recently too.
Yeah. And outside of that, I feel like
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, there's some other lesser school like Washington.
And, Stanford.
But you could probably get away with it and go, okay, this probably seems like, I guess this is what we're going to do. But then you're in no man's land then.
Yeah.
You really are. And then it's just 16. So I don't know. I have concern about some of these other schools. If both of these conferences say we're capping it at 16, that's it.
And that's why we can't leave it up to the Big Ten and the SEC to own college football.
I don't know how this would work. This is so hypothetical. Can we make trades? Can we take trades? Does Vanderbilt have any business being in the SEC if we do this super conference?
No.
Does Missouri have any business being in the SEC if we do a super conference?
No.
To me, those are the two schools in the SEC. They don't even feel like SEC schools.
Just trade them out.
We come in. You go to the Big Ten.
But you think Missouri's got contracts and Vanderbilt has contracts.
Okay, we'll go to Big Ten. Do we need Northwestern in there?
It doesn't fit.
Do we need Rutgers in there?
It doesn't fit.
To an extent, do we need? I don't want to put Purdue in there because Purdue's basketball is going to hold. But they're good at other things. Maryland, do we need them in there?
No, they're an ACC school. That's why this whole damn thing needs to be blown up and put back together.
It just needs to be started over.
Yeah, every bit of it. And
I have an idea.
Okay.
What if
I'm listening?
Hear me out. This is on the spot. What if we do you like 4 conferences better? 4 big conferences or 5? How they have it right now? You think you consolidate it to 4 or 5?
I've always said 5 conferences.
And how many teams each?
16.
16?
Yeah, and then you have a 6th conference that is made up of another group of 16. So you're going to bring in most every major football playing team with that. And then you have out of in the 6th conference, whatever you want to call it, there's relegation. So you can play into the big boys, which I think would be really cool.
Well, I'll add that to my thing here.
Yeah.
What if you did 5 commissioners and maybe a whole team of people? I don't know, but I'll just say commissioners for now. You did a draft because clearly location doesn't matter anymore. What if we just did a draft? I don't know how you figure out who's going to have the first pick, the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
Drafting.
We've just drafted programs.
Yeah. See,
it's just draft programs at that point. You want to get competitive balance.
I think if you're starting over, you pick a blue ribbon committee You do have a central commissioner and a central system for developing NIL rules, developing TV contracts, doing everything, developing recruiting rules. So everybody is playing on the same playing field. That's going to give you a lot more competitive balance right there. Because one of the reasons Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and some of these other places have had such a recruiting advantage is because of the money they put in their facilities, because of the money they're making from boosters and the SEC contract, which is twice what anybody else's contract is. So that's not a level playing field. And now when NIL money, you're going to be able to put some of that TV money into your NIL deals as well. So it's like basically having football in the NFL where there is no salary cap, which would be crazy. But if you have 5 16-team conferences, that's 80 teams, and you have that 6th conference, that's 96. What do we have, 120 now? 128, I think, D1 schools playing football. So that's 96. And that bottom tier, you get relegated to if you continue whatever the formula is, losing as many games as you do. And you play you have 8-team divisions in each one of these conferences, and you play it off. Anybody can win in that situation. So you win your conference championship game and you get into the playoff. You have the six champions of the conferences and 2 at-large bids. So that's an 8-team, or you could go to 16 and do at-large. But I think if you're playing those conference championship games, are basically playoff games. And in regards to eliminating some of these games that Nick Saban said just don't matter and people don't care about, we all have these memories of these games, and they don't happen every year. They may happen every other year or every few years, whatever. But we can go to them as games where somebody plays. It's like a trap game, like Michigan and Appalachian State. That's just the first one that comes to mind, right? Because it's probably the most famous one. Right. FSU almost got upset by Samford? Was it 3 years ago? Got beat by Jacksonville State last year. There you go. It just happened. I mean, it's like I was just about to put that out there. Like, yes, we almost lost to Samford as well. There you go. Oh my gosh, Jacksonville State. I can't believe I just relived that in my head just now. Anyway, you can still see the ball in the air. And then it coming down and seeing one person next to the receiver. Jarvis Brown. Like, anyway, how is there one person there? Go ahead. I totally forgot that happened, and I want to. Anyway, but I was just going to put out there, like, is there any need? And again, just FSU, because I know they're playing Duquesne before LSU. Like, would there be any need for those games anymore? No. Even though they give us some of these fantastic upsets every now and then, that I think is probably a good thing for college football, and it's a great story for those lesser schools. But do we need Alabama playing the Citadel in the second game of the year every single season? No. And this is what it's going to do. Here's the problem. It's like asking the Yankees to go to a salary cap and the Dodgers to go to a salary cap. It's like, why would they have their business has been invested for how long? Why would they give up their advantage of being able to spend all the money they do, outspend everybody else for the good of everybody else in the game? Why would they do that? I mean, it would be very altruistic, and that's fantastic. But why would Alabama, why would the SEC give up all their advantages to help everybody else out? Well, because it's college football, and because you want the game to survive, and you don't want it to just become the elites, like Nick Saban said. Yeah, it would be a very altruistic thing to do. Will they do it? Probably not. But it would be what's best for it. It's very similar to what's going on in the PGA Tour and LIV golf. Mm-hmm. You could take the blue bloods and put them in a certain area, but you're just creating something that just is not, nobody wants. Nobody's clamoring to see the LIV. Oh, what's their next tournament? No, nobody cares. Nobody cares because it has no tradition. It just sounds like a money grab. So what do we want? We're going to take all the big name schools and put them in a couple and then all the other schools just kind of fade away. I don't think people want to see that. I really don't. And you do want some situations where you have major upsets. And even in the SEC, like you say, there's always going to be Vanderbilt. There's going to be Missouri. There's always going to be some teams but they will pull those upsets at times because they're going to be better because it's going to be so much more of a level playing field. And then imagine the TV rights deal you would have if you were collectively bargaining with all these networks now and streaming services to, and you were including all the teams across the board. I mean, those deals would be off the freaking charts in terms of money. And that money hopefully will come back to pay the players, pay for the non-revenue sports, and continue to allow college football to flourish in a situation where You have a much better level playing field. You preserve the old-time rivalries, which I think everybody really wants to do, and it doesn't feel like such a freaking money grab because that's what it's turning into. I mean, what I just described is absolute nirvana compared to where we're going, which is NIL, unfiltered, every player going into the transfer portal, trying to get a better deal after every year, every roster changes every single year because everybody's chasing money. It's complete anarchy and pandemonium. That's what we're looking at. Anybody up for that? Missing out on a lot of our traditional rivalries. I mean, it may not sound like much to you, but UCLA, and Arizona State. I mean, those are games that interest that part of the world. UCLA, USC, and Oregon, USC and Washington. I mean, those games are gone now. I mean, USC and Stanford.
Stanford.
Yeah, I mean, all those things. Yeah, we're going to lose that. And that's, to me, that's the heart of college football.
To get USC versus Rutgers.
Yeah, and plus, when you bring in just the money part of this, you're going to start getting disenchanted with players and coaches who are just jumping teams to get more money. And good on them, but we need to set up a system. Like even the NFL has a draft system.
Yeah.
You can't just go pick where you want to go play in the NFL. You get drafted by the Cleveland Browns, you got to go to the Cleveland Browns. Will there someday be a draft? Can you imagine a college football draft? Can you imagine?
Oof.
Can you imagine a college football draft? Wow. I mean,
competitive balance. I mean,
right.
But how are you legislating that one?
No, it's going to be very difficult to do so. But once you start paying the players, which you should be doing, they do it in the NFL, right?
And I wonder what's going on here because I've been trying to monitor this because the Big 12 got a new commissioner, Brett Yormark, and he was just speaking this morning, and he flat out, I guess, here has said the Big 12 is open for business, is what
What's he going to say?
I don't know.
We're leaking oil.
T-Boone
Pickens, send me $1 billion. I mean, look, if the SEC is capping and the Big Ten is close to being capped, well,
who's a bigger commodity right now? The ACC is still a bigger commodity than the Big 12.
Is it?
Who's the number one team in the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas out? What's the number one? What's the biggest commodity there?
But I think everybody feels like that the ACC is going to be poached by the Big Ten and the SEC.
Okay, let's say it doesn't. At the moment, who is the bigger commodity? I don't think it's close.
The ACC with FSU, Clemson, and Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech,
NC
State. Yeah, it was going to be really good in football this year. Yeah, they're better than the Big 12. Absolutely. I would, especially minus Texas and Oklahoma. No question about it. But if those top four teams are pilfered, the ACC, then from a football standpoint, is worse than what's left of the Pac-12.
Fair.
Yeah.
But again, I ask you, who's the number one commodity in the Big 12 right now? Of what's there?
Oklahoma State.
It's just the first one that comes to mind.
Baylor.
Is it Baylor? Is it TCU?
It's probably Baylor.
Is
Baylor's
it TCU?
been kicking
Is it
ass.
Baylor?
You talk about football and basketball.
Is it UCF?
See, UCF. They're not even a conference yet. No, it's not UCF.
Are you sure though? Where does UCF slot in?
I mean,
they're growing. I mean, come on, Orlando or Waco. Stillwater.
Well, you don't look.
Forgive
at this.
me, Scott Reynolds.
This is not the
I don't
NFL.
even know where Kansas State is. Forgive me.
Kansas State is in Manhattan.
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying this. I might be a little bit biased, but I feel like UCF becomes. Am I out of pocket to say they might be maybe the biggest commodity of what's in there?
In the Big 12?
Yes, right now.
In terms of what?
Is it really at that far out of the realm?
Well, certainly they don't have the fan following that these other teams do.
But it's on the rise.
It's on the rise, no question about it. I'm not saying but they're just not established as a football and a major athletic program. They're not even close. They've had a few good years in football, and historically speaking, that's a blip.
I think they're moving. They're wheeling and dealing right now.
Okay, well, that's great. Let's see when they get into a big conference what they do. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but they're not. No, they're not. They're not even close to approaching a Baylor or an Oklahoma State or what else is left in there? TCU. No. Especially when you're talking about when you start throwing in basketball in Kansas and Kansas State, and no, Not even close. Not yet. But they're definitely on the rise, no doubt about it. Much better situation than the USF is. And what happens to USF, by the way? I mean, the chatter is they're lining up with the ACC. And that'll be a great move for them. A great move for them, depending on what the ACC looks like when it finally gets rated. That's why all this is just, I don't know why we're leaving this up. Everybody in college football knows, every major player in college football knows that they need to do this, a major realignment, that the way they're doing it piecemeal and, just these bigger programs doing money grabs is not the way to go about it. It's not going to end up in a good situation for anybody. I don't know. To me, you need a czar. And I said this before, how can this happen? Well, it would take a major play from somebody in Congress and government that says, look, this system is broken and you're using a lot of taxpayer money in terms of taxpayer-funded stadiums on public universities. I would probably say, 80% of these are public universities?
Yeah.
And you could basically say, look, if you're getting federal money and you're not going to join into this NCAA football collective, then you're going to lose federal money. Everybody's going to jump in, and the private schools will have to follow. So there's power to do this. There's a way to coalesce everybody together in one pool, and I think they need to get the biggest and brightest minds in the room and start working on this, like stat, before all these contracts are signed and all these other things are done. And of course, it's going to take everybody to basically ESPN and all the power brokers are going to have to basically say everybody's going to rip up their contracts and start over for the good of the game. And I still think there's going to be plenty of money there. It's not. It may be doled out a little differently, a little more equitably, which the elites don't really want. But there's still going to be plenty of money there. And they can still make a difference with their booster clubs and things like that. So
I sit here as we're talking about this, and I don't know why I'm thinking of this. Just imagine just being like on the rowing team, or the cycling team, the swimming team. Like, you're just chilling, right? Like, you have no dog in this fight. You're just like, all right,
well, you do,
tell me
what
I'm doing. You're like, tell me where I'm going.
You do actually, though. Because
it's just insane to me. It's like when we think about this, we look at it in football sense, and that is it.
Well, because football is the money. It's the money.
We have to. It's the money maker. Yeah. And basketball, to an extent, we can look at. It's the only reason why Kansas is desirable, for crying out loud.
Right. So but these non-revenue sports, if the elite go with the elite, and you're a non-revenue sport person at TCU, which I know one on the beach volleyball team, your funding is going to be dramatically cut. Dramatically.
Yeah.
Those trips to Hawaii are going away. You're going to be playing all your beach volleyball in Texas, in Galveston. That's it. You ain't going anywhere. So non-revenue sports have a very big stake in this, because if all these elite teams go and are collectively in two conferences, and all the money is going to be directed to that. All the attention is going to be directed there, because that's what football and basketball are the key players. And that's going to crush a lot of these other non-revenue sports. So it's not just the football players that are going to be affected. It's going to be program wide. So, all right, we haven't hit on the open here. Tiger has been warming up, and I just love watching him swing now. He swings so effortlessly, as opposed to the old days when I'm not criticizing that swing. It was pretty
out pretty well for him. I don't know about you.
But we always said as he gets older, he's not going to be able to maintain that from his health, and we're going to lose years in terms of him playing. Unfortunately, it wasn't his swing actually, his back was the first thing that took him out of competition from that years and years of swinging that way. And then, of course, the car accident. But he looks great. He looks great on the range. He looks comfortable. He's smiling. He seems to be in a great headspace. His comments on the LIV, which we played yesterday, really, really hit the golf world hard. And I think it was, because he talked specifically, if you want to replay that, I don't know if we have time, but he talked specifically about, we don't, I guess, that these players aren't going to be able to play in major championships. And this is what it's all boiling down to, folks. If the LIV golfers are not awarded points, and I think this is why the Biden DOJ, isn't it interesting he goes to Saudi Arabia to meet with those, and his DOJ suddenly attacks the PGA Tour and at behest of the Saudi Tour? Shocking development. Just the way they kind of do business there, the Biden crime family. But that this is now, so the PGA Tour is being investigated by the DOJ, and these LIV golfers are not going to get these world points. Maybe there's just pressure to get the PGA to award them world points, because if they don't get world ranking points, they're not going to play in the Masters for the most part, unless you're a past champion, or the U.S. Open, or definitely not the PGA. And even the Open is you have to have points. So if it comes down to that, there will be a max exodus from LIV golf. So we shall see. But enough talking about that. The Open starts tomorrow. Tiger tees off at 9:59 as we go in the air. I cannot wait.
Apologies in advance to everybody.
Yeah, we will be tracking it for you and giving you the same great show that we give you each and every day, but we will certainly be somewhat Tiger-centric. All right, great job today, Nick Geddes. Thank you all for joining us. Remember, you can watch each and every day on YouTube. Please follow us on our YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and download the app FanStream Sports, all one word, so you can listen to the show anytime. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.